Nanci Danison, and today's topic is what happens when we die. I died March 14th, 1994. I was in university hospitals for what's called an excisional breast biopsy, which meant that they didn't do like a needle puncture or anything. They pretty much assumed it was going to be cancer, so they were just going to cut the whole thing out. They cut a wedge out about like this size. Because I didn't have a lump, the only way that the surgeon would know where to cut was through a procedure, a radiological procedure called a needle localization procedure. So I was in the radiology department for the radiologist to stick a needle into my breast with a wire inside and then pull the needle out and leave the wire for the surgeon to cut around. And then she also, the radiologist drew a little map, here are the 3 lesions, please cut here. All of that positioning of the needle and the wire had to be done with the mammogram. So you ladies know what that's like to be. I had 8 mammograms as part of this procedure. Because the first time the radiologist didn't get the needle in far enough. She had to do the whole thing over again. The only medication that I was on was the local anesthetic for the skin. After the 8th set of mammograms, the radiologist left with the radiology technician. I assumed to get the films developed, and we'd been at it about an hour and a half, so I thought they were probably going to take a break. So they were gone. Shortly after they left, so did I. I was sitting there in a chair, pretty much like this one, with my arms on the rest, with this wire hanging out of my breast and my little hospital Johnny on. And all of a sudden, I felt funny, and I thought, oh, I'm going to pass out. And I tried to get up to go out the door to yell for somebody to come, but it went too fast. I couldn't get up. First thing that happened was I lost vision in the periphery of my eyesight. The color went out, and then the color gradually went out completely, and I was only seeing in black and white. Then the black and white vision started going out and tunneling down to the point where I only had vision like right out in front of me. And then it went out, and I couldn't see anything. And then I had this sinking sensation. It felt like sinking down from my head. This upsets my body to hear about it. And I was pulling out of my arms, pulling out of my shoulders, and pulling out of my neck, just sinking. And I wasn't frightened because I thought I was just going to pass out. Next thing I know, I went whoosh, and I'm standing right there in front of my body. And I knew the body was behind me, and I went, cool, I'm in front of my body. And I'm still alive. And I didn't pass out. And I didn't know what it was, what had happened to me. I realized I was in total darkness. But it wasn't a frightening darkness. It felt like, when you enter into a dark room and you can feel that there's somebody in there, maybe a cat or a dog or maybe a sleeping child, you can feel their presence. That's what this was like. I could feel the presence of one or more others around me, but I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. I didn't feel anything. My mind said, oh, I know what this is. I'm supposed to go in the light. And in the distance, there was this little tiny dot of light. And as soon as I said, I'm supposed to go into the light, whoosh, I was in the light. It was like it came to me. It just all of a sudden engulfed me. And I'm in the light, and I'm looking around, and there's nothing there. There's nothing to see. I can't hear anything. I don't feel anything. So I figure, I should probably figure out what happened to me. So I started making a diagnosis. I went through, I'm a health lawyer, and most of my clients are physicians, some hospitals. And I started going through what a physician does in their, review of systems. I'm going, no heartbeat, no breathing. I can't feel heat or cold, but there may not be any heat or cold here. I can't see anything, but I know I can see. I can't hear anything. I can't smell anything. I can see through the back of my head. And then all these thoughts started coming. Like all kinds of information about things that I might have studied at one point in time in my life. A bunch of stuff about psychology. I remember I got knowings about mental health and how American, or maybe not American, but how human physicians completely misunderstand mental illness. That it's really the manifestation through the physical body of all these wonderful spiritual powers that we have, and not an illness. And I got information about physics and time, and that time is not a constant and it doesn't actually exist, and there's no time once you get outside the body, and it's just time is just a fiction of human measurement, like pounds and inches. And a bunch of other things that I don't remember. But I was aware that I was getting all this information. At the same time, I'm still doing my review of systems, and I realize I'm still me. I'm not in my body anymore, but I'm still me. I still think the same way, I feel the same way, and I have all the emotions except fear. And I realize there's no fear. I have no idea where I am, but I'm not afraid. I can feel this love and acceptance kind of going through me like a breeze, only without any movement. And it felt like I was expanding, or like kind of like I was molecules that were getting farther and farther apart, and that the love was filling in between. And I felt like my love was boomeranging back out into the light. And I realized I wasn't going to be on Earth anymore. I never once thought, oh, I'm dead, because I thought I was passed out, even though I was completely conscious. But I realized I wasn't going to be on Earth anymore. And I missed some things about Earth. I missed being able to touch. And I couldn't feel anything. No skin, no touch. I missed wind. I missed feeling sun on my skin, laying out in the sun. I was my sun lizard. I missed chocolate. And I missed food in general. And I thought, wow, if I had known I was going to miss it so much, I would have eaten like a pig before I did, while I was still in the body. I started seeing what I had really been like in life. I got all this information about what humans are like and what I'm like now as a spiritual being, and the difference between the two. And I saw how so much of my personality as Nancy had been colored by fear. I mean, things that I thought were just normal, like working hard and getting ahead and wanting to be a success and studying hard in school and getting A's and, all the things that we kind of are taught in America particularly are what we should be striving for. I saw all those things as just the expression of fear. And I was embarrassed by how I spent my life, how money-grubbing I had been, and believe me, I was money-grubbing out of fear. I was always afraid there wasn't going to be enough. I got all this information about humans and what their innate characteristics are like, and that they have personalities, that they have their own emotions that are different from the emotions that we have as spiritual beings, the primary difference being fear, and all the other emotions that come off of that, revenge, hatred, lust, and just all kinds of things.